Yeah, so I think we'll work with that for sure. Well, I'm so glad to see each of you. Take a moment to set your space, so get comfortable. Spray whatever it is you need to set your space. I'm definitely using Worthy Focus today. Welcome yourself to your practice. So I want to speak a little bit to like the astrological component and just maybe ways to work with the energy, because I too have just been feeling this like overwhelming sense of like the never-ending to-do list, or there's so many things that I'm excited to work on and there's not enough time, and that feeling of fullness or that feeling of kind of like too much, I think is really there. We have the sun moving through Virgo, which is a very mercurial, very analytical, very evaluative, wanting to get things perfect, really wanting to work on meaningful things. We have that energy, and we have Mercury in that same archetype. So we have that compounded. Meanwhile, we have Mars and a planet conflicting our Venus, which is our heart. So we have this kind of inner turmoil of like what we want to do and go after, the fear that comes with like that, sometimes going after things, and especially with even what we're working on and going after a pose, right? Anytime in our life, right, that we are looking towards something that's more long-term, you know, kind of a goal or something that can't be immediately realized. And I'm constantly like baffled by this with like my daughter, because like her generation is really likes the instant gratification, and there's not a whole lot of appreciation for like an endeavor that may or may not like realize for 4 months or 6 months, or like saving for something, right? And a lot of the practice of yoga, right, is a long-term investment. You know, it's not going to be, you're going to get some things along the way, but it's a long-term investment, and it's an investment in your health and your vitality. And a lot of the things we aspire to, right, require that. And so I've been reading this book, The War on Art, and it's really interesting. It's breaking through creative blocks, but he talks about that there's the life that we're meant to live and the life we live, and often that place in between is resistance. And resistance comes, as he talks about, in the form of like anything, and it comes in lots of different forms, like this resistance. But he talks about this resistance being a way that kind of pulls us away from that kind of push to keep doing the things that we want to do. And I wanted to mention kind of what he says at the end of it, because he talks about there's like a ton of lists, right? He says, in other words, any act that rejects immediate gratification in favor of the long-term growth, health, or integrity. Or expressed another way, any act that derives from our higher nature instead of our lower, any of these will elicit resistance. And he talks in this book about how to get past resistance. And one of the, then he gives you like some superpowers against it, like ways to do that. But one of the biggest ones he talks about is patience. And that's one that I've been trying to really practice on, is this patience, right? For some of these things, we have to have a lot of patience, because it's not going to always go the way we think. And if we think it's going to take 2 weeks for a project, maybe if you're refinishing a deck, right, you think it's going to take a week or two, and it takes a month, right? You're going to aspire to get this pose in a month, and it might take you 3 months to get crow pose. Or it might take you a year. You may never get to it, right? But that resistance to knowing that it's going to take longer can sometimes be what we follow, being our adversary to kick us off the path, to not want to do it anyway. So I wanted to read to you what he says about how a professional, which he's talking about, a professional that does not listen to their resistance is patient. So if you want to just find a place to sit or lie down, just so that you can take these words in, that way you're comfortable, feel free to do that. Resistance outwits the amateur with the oldest trick in the book. It uses his own enthusiasm against him. Resistance gets us to plunge into a project with an overambitious and unrealistic timetable for its completion. It knows we can't sustain that level of intensity. We'll hit the wall, we'll crash. The professional, on the other hand, understands delayed gratification. He is the ant, not the grasshopper, the tortoise, not the hare. Have you ever heard the legend of Sylvester Stallone staying up 3 nights straight to churn out the screenplay for Rocky? I don't know, even if it's true, but that's the most pernicious species of myth to set before the awakening writer, before it seduces him into believing he can pull off the big score without pain and without persistence. The professional arms himself with patience, not only to give the stars time to align in his career, but to keep himself from flaming out in each individual work. He knows that any job, whether it's a novel or a kitchen remodel, takes twice as long as he thinks and costs twice as much. He accepts that. He recognizes it as reality. The professional steels himself as the start of a project, reminding himself it is the Iditarod, not the 60-yard dash. He conserves his energy. He prepares his mind for the long haul. He sustains himself with the knowledge that if he can just keep those huskies mushing, sooner or later the sled will pull into the gnome. So we're going to work with patience today. And we'll work with patience by, at times, narrowing a focus, right? So we're going to work today Titibasana, which is Firefly. It was Susan's pose. And I promised a class on it because you kind of have to work this pose fully to get to it. Although it'll have components of crow, although it'll have shoulder strengthening that can help handstand. It is a balance pose, just a balance on your arms. But I'm going to give us little specific focuses through the class to align your energy. Because part of this patience, right, is for me, I know, it's not taking it all on all the time, but I'm going to take this in right now. I'm going to try this right now. I'm going to focus on this. So we're going to work with that. So the mudra we'll use today is the Hakini mudra. And this is a great one to help with memory. So if you're ever trying to remember something, this is the mudra. Or if ever you just need to focus and narrow the focus so that you can concentrate, this is the mudra. So let's find it. So it's all of your fingers touching. This mudra is also known to increase lung capacity as well. Close your eyes and just begin breathing. So taking out the world of all the things that we all aspire to do. And just being here in this moment with the aspiration to practice yoga. The aspiration to tune into our bodies, our minds, our spirits, our emotions, our physicality. To listen, to respond, to be present. So allowing your focus to really narrow to yourself. Let the breath be nice and deep. So reminding you on every inhale of the space that you can create in a pause with the breath. To refocus, to narrow your focus, to create more space. And on the exhale, we can let go of overwhelm or too much. We can neutralize the distraction of resistance in whatever way it comes, whether it's in impatience, whether it's in needing to be perfect. Just allow like plugs plugged into a overused socket, lightly pulling out the plugs that you don't need right now, the cords. So for the next 5 or 6 breaths, we're going to breathe in thirds. So we'll breathe in a third and pause, another third and pause, and then we'll breathe all the way in, and then a slow, continuous exhale out. So when you're ready, exhale your breath all the way out. Breathe in a third and pause, another third and pause. All the way in, take a giant sip of breath, top of the sternum, slow, continuous breath out. Breathe in a third and pause. Another third and pause. Full breath in, every little last bit, all the way out. Do it again. Breathe in and pause. Another sip in, all the way in. Really enjoy getting empty on the way out. Intentionalizing space as you breathe in. Even more space as you breathe in. The most space you can breathe in. All the way out. We'll do this one more time, really focusing on the expansion and the space as you breathe in. Just doing your own timing. And then all the way out, letting yourself de-stressify, unclutter, and then just release the mudra. Open your eyes. Make sure you have a strap handy. We won't need it right this second, but we will soon. So a strap or a rope or a dish towel works, anything like that. And then we're going to head on to our backs. So hug your knees in, let the low back stretch a bit as you roll side to side. And then take your arms out to the side, palms down or palms up. You can decide which one feels good. I'm going to keep my knees bent. You're welcome to straighten the legs. You're also welcome to put a block between them. I'm going to press my feet together, and on the exhale, drop my legs towards the left without letting them fall, stretching out through my right shoulder. Inhaling, come up. Exhaling over to the right. I'm keeping my legs hovering, left hip crease dropping towards the back edge of my mat. Inhaling, coming up. Now I'm going to let the breath stretch, so the full exhale as I drop the legs nice and slow. I'm going to pause on inhale, take in a breath, stretch through my chest, and slow, continuous exhale as I bring the legs up. So we're moving on exhale, pausing on inhale. So kind of just let your breath stretch, and then breath in, moving on exhale. So it doesn't have to be a very big twist. I just want you to wake up the side waist. And then pausing on inhale. So the longer your breath is, the slower that you'll move. Keeping my shoulders anchored so I can get that extra little stretch of the chest. The block gives you more stability for the low back. So if the low back's a little tender, you might put something between your legs. Block blanket. Pause on inhale. We'll do 2 more on each side. Exhale. Inhale, stretch the ribs. Exhale. Inhale, re-lengthen the low back. Exhale as you twist and turn. Inhale, pause. Exhale. Last cycle. We're going to hold on this side. So as you slowly exhale, let the legs come all the way down to the floor. So you can pull your knees up. Maybe your right arm kind of draws the knees, and take some extra breaths just to stretch through the chest. Really using these first rounds of breath to kind of, again, that de-stressify, that exhale, just like unraveling the week. And then inhaling, just again, that new intention to create space, patience. Then using your core strength on the exhale, bring your legs up. Pause on the inhale, and then taking your legs fully down to the left on your exhale. Left arm comes up, stretch. Letting your body melt towards the earth. Softening your jaw. And then using your breath, exhale, bringing the legs up. And then finding a happy baby. So if this is early, you want to grab the ankles, or you can grab the knee creases and rock side to side. Side to side, letting those hips slowly open, flexing the feet. And then waking up through the core, go ahead and place the feet down. Hands are going to interlace behind your head, elbows slightly pointing up. So there's a little bit of a lifting of the side of the scapula and hugging in towards the side of the ribs, okay? Bring your legs up to tabletop again. So you're going to exhale, as you extend that right leg, you'll twist to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the right, so my left leg extends and lengthens. I keep my right knee bent, and then come into the center. So I'm exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Pull that navel in, keep both shoulder blades lifting. So I'm bringing that right rib over to that left hip, trying to keep the left shoulder lifted. And as I move to the right, I try and keep the right shoulder lifted. So this right or left leg can extend at a high diagonal or low to the floor to try to lengthen out from the low belly. You can use an open mouth exhale to really kind of clean and purge. Again, this section of our practice is kind of using the twist to kind of release, activate the core, which is where our vital energy is, where our essence, our creativity. So just imagining with every repetition of this core work, you're awakening your vitality. You're removing stagnation, which can be found in the form of like repetitive thoughts or defeating thoughts, perfectionism, feeling defeated before you start, right? All that old stuff. Let's do 4 more. And then we're going to hold on one side. So moving our body. On this last time when we twist to the left, I want you to hold. So keep your shoulder blades up, take a deep breath in. Then really let the breath go. Pull your navel in so you can really reach that right leg, really churn the belly. Take another exhale. And then inhale, release down. Big breath in, relax. Exhale, twist to the right. Mini inhale, and then really see if you can reach. Double exhale, and then let the legs come in. This time, grab the tops of the ankles, let the knees go wide, roll the ankles. So kind of feeling more of a groin stretch here. And then bring the soles of the feet together, open up the knees, and just have your hands at your belly and just kind of feeling the energy that might be circulating there from the twists. Kind of with your breath, kind of sending that vital energy to all of your body. And then bring your knees up. Rock and roll yourself up to a seat. And then coming into all fours. So we're going to do a little bit of going back and forth, opening up the front and the back of the heart space. So we're going to cat our back. So I'm going to press into the floor with my palms, with my knees, cat the back, let my head relax. I'm going to really breathe into the upper back. Then you're going to drop your heels, or drop your hips to your heels, walk the hands back. My fingers are forward. Lift the hips, let the shoulders move back. So stretching the front of the chest. Dropping the heels, bring the arms forward, cat the back. Then at your own timing, drag those fingertips back. You can keep the hips down and just lift the chest, or you can lift the hips. Doesn't really matter. So just keep going just like that. Stretch into the upper back and feel free to move around a bit. And then opening up through the chest, front of the thighs. If you want to accentuate a little bit of hip flexor, I can cat my back, pull my knee in. You can do this opposites, so switching each time, and then stretching. So it's up to you. We'll do this about 4 more times, so take your time. Remember to invoke that patience. So you might be putting your awareness, your drishti, on the heart space, front and back of the heart. So again, it's like we can't focus. It's like in yoga, we can give 1,000 cues for each pose, but not all of it can be important all the time. So right now, your drishti, your focal point is the front and the back of the chest. So maybe you're imagining with your breath, you're bringing your vitality to that space. This is our last one. Hold here with that extra stretch of the chest, so really letting the shoulders move back, freeing the neck. So if you need to look down, you can. Imagine your collarbones widening. That freedom at the armpit chest all the way across. And then let the hips lower. Hands forward, and then hold your cat pose. So really letting the head feel heavy, broadening across the shoulder blades as you press into your hands. Lengthening through the tailbone. Shake it out. And then neutralize your spine. So coming into a long neck, long spine, ribs pull in. Make sure the creases of your wrists line up. Tuck your toes, and then come to downward facing dog. So you might bend the knees at first just to really lengthen the hips away from the hands so you get that length of the low back. Then you might straighten the legs and descend your heels. Maybe pedaling the heels side to side so you can feel the calves start to stretch. Keep your breath going nice and deep. Take a nice deep breath in and then slowly walk your feet to your hands at the top of the mat. So legs are hip distance, let your head drop. If you need bent knees, please do that. The pelvis should be tipping forward and the head is heavy. So starting to wake up to the hamstrings. Couple more breaths. Shoulders heavy, head is heavy. Then bend those knees so you can pull the navel back and let the tailbone lengthen and roll up nice and slow. Rolling those head, neck, and shoulders. A couple times. We'll do some half somersaults just to lengthen the spine. Arms stretch up, inhale. Either a flat back to fold or you can round and release. So I'll show you both. Exhale. Long spine, inhale. Collarbones wide, lengthen. Exhale, fold. You can bend or you can flat back all the way up. Inhale. I'll show you flat back. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale. You can flat back. Inhale. Exhale, hands to heart. Two more, whatever you want to do. So whatever style, rounding, lengthening, you can do both. Sometimes they both feel good. Just sync it up with your breath. So it's not important that you're going at the same pace as me, but that you're breathing and moving, cycling the breath through your body. And here's your last cycle. All the way up and hands to the heart. Okay, we're gonna grab our strap. So we're gonna do a little bit of work to open up the shoulders. So I have a pretty long strap, so I'm gonna fold mine in half. The goal will be that when we do some of this arm circling, which we're gonna do, that you're not feeling like you have to contort your neck to get the straps back. So if you have a really short strap or a towel, just do the best you can. You don't have to go all the way back if you want, okay? So we're gonna take a deep breath and the arms are gonna reach up. And on the exhale, step the right leg back and you're in a lunge position. And now just go side to side with your strap. So we're doing a side bend. If you want your knee down, please do that. So I'm pulling the strap apart and I can choke up a bit if I feel like it's too narrow. And I'm just doing some side bends. I can round forward if I want, make circles. Just take about 3 or 4 more breaths to just open up the side body. This part of the practice, we're just trying to open and release energy and kind of just like harmonize the body. And then straighten both of the legs and then take the strap behind you and just kind of hold it in the palm of your hand. Don't worry about shoulders back and then fold forward. My back heel is lifted, just a hamstring stretch. So I'm not necessarily pulling the shoulders back, just holding onto the strap, letting my shoulders round, pulling the navel back. And then go ahead and come up nice and slow by pulling the strap down, lowering the heel, quarter turn to a wide leg forward fold. Okay, now I'm going to take the strap and I'm going to come up and back. Up and back. So everyone's different, so maybe you can't get all the way back, totally fine. I just want to kind of feel, and some people like to kind of do this with sides, really anything that feels good. We have a wide leg stance for now. Yeah, just kind of going side to side, opening up, getting the chest and the shoulders to mobilize. Whatever feels good. And then as you're ready, put the strap back. So I might need to refocus where I hold it. Lift the chest, and then I'm going to fold forward. So I'm going to fold the strap a little differently. And I'm going to fold forward. So I'm in a wide leg fold. My shoulders are on my back. I'm letting the clasp lift away from my hips to the degree I keep the chest open. I'm going to let the strap go, so I'm going to release it down to the floor. I'm going to turn my toes up, my heels in. If I want to grab ankles, I can. I'm going to bend and straighten each leg. So I'm starting to get into the groins here. So if that doesn't work, hands on the floor works. And I'm just going side to side. I want you to feel as deep as you can into your adductors, those again, the groins. We're going to need to really open up hamstrings and groins for our practice. For Titivasana. So just bending and straightening, just getting a little mobility. So I'm trying to, in the way I'm doing this shape, I'm trying to keep my hips almost like in the same plane. And I'm just sliding them side to side. And you can come up and come over, or you can stay low. Just kind of playing around with what feels good at the time. Keep your breath going. And then when you're ready, come over to the left and come into a lizard lunge. So that's a wider lunge. So my left foot is outside my left hand, my back knee is down. So I'm going to lift the chest for a moment, just to kind of lengthen through my spine. And then after this, I can allow myself to kind of relax. So after I've kind of lengthened, I can either put my forearms down and let my head do what it wants, or stay up on my hands. Breathe in, breathe out. And then when you're ready, straightening your left leg. And I'm wide. Really important that you stay wide. So hips back. So this left leg is more at an angle than anything else. And if you want to come forward and back a few times, feel free to kind of play with that movement. Sometimes that feels nice to kind of ease into that hamstring stretch. But then once you get there, go ahead and feel the hips move back as the heel moves forward. So we're lengthening from the sitting bone to the left heel. Letting that kneecap extend as much as it can. And again, you could use blocks if you wanted. One more deep breath here. Then go ahead and bend the left knee and then bend the right and come to a wide squat. So my feet are much wider than hip distance and I'm in a squat. And I can put my fists down or fingertips down and just sit back. So it's a wide squat. Lengthening my spine here. Breathe in, breathe out. And then as I'm ready, I'm going to bring my hands to my thighs or hands to my heart. Just kind of get up, straightening my legs, bring my legs back together to the top of the mat. So I'm going to grab the strap again. So on the inhale, I'm going to come up, stretch, kind of reaching up, and I'm going to step the left leg back for a high lunge. Then I'm just going to go side to side. I can make those circles that we did, so feel free to do that. Feel free to put your knee down if this feels unstable. So right here, the dristi, the gaze in which we're working with, is the side body. So trying to get a little bit of length to that side body. And then again, switching the grip. So I roll the shoulders so that I hold the strap through the center of my palm. I'm not worried about an open chest. I just want to let the shoulders relax. Straightening the right leg, pulling up through the navel. and folding. So I want to feel more of the belly pull back and that engagement of the core as I stretch through my hamstring. Back heel lifts. This is a little bit of balance work. And then as you're ready, as you push the strap down, you're going to come all the way up, and then we come out to that wide leg fold. I'm going to switch the position. Once again, we have to switch the strap. I'm going to go a little wider for me so that I can open up to the chest and shoulders. So remember, you can do anything you want. If you want to do circles as you do this, feel free. Just want you to feel some kind of freedom in the shoulders, right? When we get overwhelmed, our shoulders get up by our ears. We start to feel tense through the shoulders, neck, jaw area. So I just want you to feel that openness here. Okay. For this next one, just go ahead and drop the strap in front of you. Go ahead and turn your toes out and your heels in and come into a squat. We're going to take that right arm, we're going to take a side stretch. Then I'm going to round my head and release and take it into a side stretch other side. Come all the way up. Then I'll side stretch to that same side I just left. Round and release. Side stretch. Come up. And then back to that side. And then again, it's around to the upper back and shoulders. Side stretch. And then once again. And then round. And then come all the way into that squat. So just slide your hands down towards your knee creases. And I'm going to press the knees away from my hips. And I can drop a shoulder if I want, just to stretch the low back. But I'm trying to get these legs to widen in that socket. So I'm getting another groin stretch here. A little bit of twisting and rotating through the torso. Okay. And then take it to a low horse. So the hands are going to come down to the floor. I'll drop my hips. And then I'm going to, again, move side to side, side to side. Staying low or floating my hands, one or the other, or taking my hands to those ankles that I had before. Lots of options. Just moving side to side. Okay. Go ahead and straighten both of the legs, hands down to the floor, parallel your big toes, and place the hands underneath your shoulders. So before we had the bind of the chest, now come up to your fingertips and lengthen your spine. So get as long as you have through the side body. And on the exhale, I want you to press your hands down and forward and fold in. So let that upper back curl a bit. So I'm pushing down and forward with my hands. My elbows are pulling in. Think about chaturanga, think about headstand, what I might do. So really allowing my shoulders to start to feel a little bit more strength so that I'm getting a little bit deeper fold in. We'll be using this later. Take another breath or two. That should feel like an active forward fold. Climb back up to your fingertips and then turn towards your right leg. And then go ahead and bend your knee and you're in that lizard lunge. So that's that wide lunge. For a moment, pull the heel of the hands back, lengthen your chest, and then you can fold down to your forearms or you can just let the head go. So feeling hip flexors and right hamstring, groins as well. Feeling that open through the hips. Nice deep breaths. So we're going to straighten through the right leg. So remember, you can go back and forth a few times. This is a wider angle pose though. So it's not the normal pose that we would do here. So bending and straightening, then I'm going to come on in. And instead of pulling the heel towards me to shorten the hamstring, which does give it some tone, I do want to feel a little bit of that lengthening of the right heel out away from the hip. So I'm getting more space. Take your time, kind of feeling that gaze of your focus towards that right hamstring groin area. kind of fanning out that muscle, imagining it dilating and getting lots of space. Focus your breath there. Then when you're ready, rebend the right knee and then step the left leg in. This is that weird squat. So it's almost like the wide leg forward fold, a little bit narrower than I bend the knees. Maybe I can get my palms flat, maybe I'm on fists or blocks, totally fine, doesn't matter. Set the hips back, but lengthen your spine. Feel those hip creases deepen. Take another deep breath and then bring your hands to your heart, come all the way up. Straighten your legs, bring your feet together. Take another deep breath or two. We'll do a full sun salutation. So the arms are going to reach up, big stretch. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Halfway lift, stretch and lengthen, and step into plank pose. So I'm going to give you some options. So this is a reverse plank curl. It's like doing Ardha Navasana on our back, which we'll do later. So I want you to imagine as you press into your hands, you cat your back, and you bring your pubic bone towards your ribs. And then you're going to re-lengthen plank. So it's like doing a crunch, but on your hands. It should be very challenging, but we're going to need this for the pose we're working towards. So I'm not lifting my butt up and down. I'm actually curling through the tailbone as I bring ribs and hips together, and I'm re-lengthening out. Keep doing it. I'm just going to watch. So the butt shouldn't lift. It just curls. Yeah, so push vigorously into your hands. Feel it more from your hips moving towards your ribs than it is lifting your butt like a down dog. Yep, so less lifting, more tilting. Yeah, good, you guys, nice. It should be like, after like 3, you should be like, this sucks, it's not very fun. Yeah, okay, good, then you're doing it right, good. Now come into your plank, all the way down. Let's do a cobra. Untuck your toes, pull the hands back, lift. Shine your heart forward. And then all the way back. Good, tuck your toes, just come to down dog. 5 deep breaths, nice work you guys. So hopefully you felt that core action there. Nice deep breath in, nice deep breath out. All right, so we're gonna come on to our knees. If you have blocks, a lot easier, otherwise you're just gonna do the best you can. So we're gonna put these blocks down by the knees, kind of like right at the upper thigh. And I want you to kind of, as you come forward, I want you to cat your back. So I'm pushing into these blocks. So if I have them further back, it's actually easier, but a lot of people get a little nervous with that. So play around with the positioning. So I want you to feel like you're doing a forward fold. Pull your navel in, see if you can lift your knees. Maybe you can cross your ankles and lift your feet. There's a lot of push, a lot of pull. Again, that same Ardha Navasana core work, right? So it's okay if you don't lift. Think about coming forward with your torso, belly in, push through your hands, lift your knees. Trying just for a 2-second hold. Yeah, good. Yeah, there you go, friends, nice. Good. Okay, just try it like 1 or 2 times. I just want you to feel that push and lift. You gotta feel that core activation. Nice. Okay, and then go ahead and sit to the side. Bring your legs forward. Roll all the way down and grab your strap. Interlace it into your right in front of your right heel. With your right hand, grab the strap. With your left hand, either press your hip down and widen it, or take your arm over to the left. Now open your right leg nice and slowly to the right without letting your hip fall to the right. So I want you to really work your core stabilization here so that as your right leg goes to the right, your whole body doesn't go with. Hold for 5 big breaths. Anchor that left heel to the floor so that you have that stability, left shoulder. 1 more breath. And then bring that right leg up. You can hold both hands onto the strap, tuck your chin to your chest, curl, ribs to hips, similar to what we just did, and lift up. So maybe you're pulling your leg towards you, but I want you to feel the core activation. Elbows can go wide, hold for 5. There will be shallow breaths for 3, 2, and let it go. Switch the legs. So first maybe both feet in just to neutralize low back. And then right leg down. Left hand has the strap. With my right hand, I press the hip down and widen. I want to keep that stability in my hips so that I'm just moving the thigh out. I'm not necessarily letting my body go to the left. So you might have to temper how wide you go. The right arm out certainly helps. When you get to your peak, fully extend the leg and take 5 breaths. Really working right hip down, right shoulder down, left leg widening. Big breath. And then bring the leg in. Grab both sides of the strap. First, you're going to tuck your chin to your chest so that you're not lifting with your neck. Feel your belly contract. Feel your ribs draw to your hips. Come in. You can use your arms, totally fine. And then reaching here without your head, just feeling the core really activate. 3, 2, and then let it go. Go ahead and place both of your feet flat. Take your hands behind your head. So one more kind of Ardha Navasana to get this core activation. You can do one leg or both. Go ahead and lift the other half. If you can lift the lower half or one of them, you can. So eyes and toes level. Hold for 5. Rounded upper back, just like what you did in plank. 3, 2, and then bring the legs in. Happy baby. Nice deep breaths. Flatten your arch so that you widen. And then grab the tops of your shin, come to Baddha Konasana. Roll your ankles. And then roll like a ball, so roll up a couple times. And then roll into Baddha Konasana seated. So soles of the feet together, hands come back. You're gonna press your arms back and lift your chest. So I wanna get nice and long as I externally rotate those thighs. Breathing in, breathing out. One more cycle of breath. Okay, then go ahead and lift your legs, come all the way back, come back to your downward facing dog. Pedal your legs as you need to, drop your head. Focusing that breath wherever you need it today. Okay, take a deep breath in. Deep breath out through your mouth. Step your right leg forward to a high lunge. Come all the way up to high lunge. So you can just kind of move your arms in a circle if you want, kind of shoulder circle without the strap. If you want to side bend, just kind of taking your high lunge, and maybe this time you just want some stillness. Couple breaths, and I'm a little bit wider. Now straighten the right leg, and I'm going to hinge forward at the hips and bring my hands down to blocks. So I might heel toe the right leg a little bit wider here. I could also pull the toes back to get a little calf stretch, and I could point the toes down, so feeling out what feels good for you. Bend a little bit wider to get that hamstring. Take another deep breath in. And on the breath out, bend the right knee, seal the back foot flat. You're gonna have to walk your right leg back in. And then from the ground up, so gonna allow your chest on the left to face down, pull your right hip back, and then pull that left arm up and back for side angle. Take that arm over your head and reach, get that side body lengthening. You can look down. If this doesn't work for your head, keep your arm up. You can also neck release. Nice deep breath. Okay, take another deep breath, and then hands come down to the floor. And you're going to pop that back heel up and come back to that squat position. Okay, so I'm in that wide squat. So option 1, you're just going to continue to work the squat hips back. Option 2, if you want to stick some of your blocks back behind you, I'm going to sit back and create a little shelf for my hands. Maybe even a shelf for my butt to come down so that my hands get down. So I'm showing you both. I can have a shelf for my hips to get low and my hands are down. So I'm just getting a deepening of the squat. Or if I want my hands down, the blocks come back, and I'm working the shelf from my hips to be my arms. And I'm gonna press vigorously into my arms to feel my core. So it's that rounded upper back. Maybe if I'm feeling sprightly, and I'm feeling like I can do this, I'm gonna cross the ankles, squeeze, and it's Bhuja Padasana. Those are just add-ons, you don't have to do them. Couple more breaths. If your blocks are right there, step back one leg at a time. 4 times reverse plank. So remember, hips, tailbone tucks, upper back lifts. Inhale to plank. 3, exhale it out. Good core strengthening. 2. And then we'll do one more. Plank pose. Drop to your knees if you need to. Chaturanga, locust, upward dog, whatever you want. And then all the way back to child's pose this time. Okay, we're going to sit on our shins for this one. If sitting on your shins and what I start to show you does not work, you can sit on your sitting bones, and you can let the bent knee come out. I'll show you that. Step your right leg forward and go ahead and sit on a block if you'd like. You can use a strap for this, or you can use your hands. So I'm in Virasana, so my heel is outside my hip. I'm going to grab that strap if I need it, which never hurts to have it. Hold it underneath the heel and kick the leg out. So this is heron's pose. So chest is lifted, hamstring stretch. So I can also be here in a half happy baby. If it's possible, take your leg wide, similar to what we did on our back. Similar to what you just did in your lunge. You can also do a wide half happy baby. Let me know if you're stuck or if you need something else. Yeah, good job, you guys. Everybody looks like they're okay, I think. Okay, take another deep breath in. Take another deep breath out. Go ahead and place the foot down. Remove your block. Step into downward facing dog. Let that drishti be the space between your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths into that space. Okay, step your left leg forward between your hands, high lunge. So as you're ready, take those arms up. Remember, you can be doing shoulder rolls if that feels good to kind of unburden any part of the body, or you can just hold the arms up. We're not here very long. Okay, straighten the front leg. Hinge at the hips, bring your hands to those blocks. Walk your left foot over to the left, maybe a couple inches, and you're gonna come into the hamstring stretch. So pointed foot, flex foot, you choose. I can bend my elbows and fold in deeper, or I can just stay up on my hands. But a different way to feel the hamstring in this widened position. Okay, go ahead and rebend the left knee, seal the right foot flat. I'm gonna have to walk my foot in because they're way wide apart. We want the heel in the arch. Right arm's gonna stay low for a moment just to get my right hip to turn down and my hips to move forward, and then the right arm lifts. And maybe it goes over the head. Maybe I'll let my gaze go. 5 breaths, really find your feet, find the strength of your hips as you lengthen your whole side body. One more deep breath. And then both hands down to the floor, widening your foot again. You're gonna step into that squat. So once again, I have the choice to make the prop shelf so I can set my hips down. Need to have 2 blocks for that. Or the props for my wrist, or I just stay here and work the squat. 3 more breaths. Bhuja Padasana was if your hands can come back, fingers forward, you can cross your ankles and bring your head towards your feet. if you're feeling that. But you know, we have plenty to go, so you don't have to do it all now. Take another couple breaths. Yeah, great job, you guys. Really nice. Okay, slowly come up. Step back to plank pose. 4 times reverse plank. Exhale, inhale. If you want to do crow pose, this is the same action you're going to want. That pushing down, that lifting to the upper half, that curling of the tailbone. One more. Plank pose, knees down if you need to. Go through a vinyasa of your choice, or just set your knees down and relax. You can always just sit on back. When you're ready, place the block underneath your sitting bones. Your left foot comes out. So I'm either directly knee and heel, or my heel's a little wider. Remember, you can use a strap or your hand. Lasso right above that heel, either a half happy baby or a straight leg. It really doesn't matter, because your leg may or may not straighten today in Titivasana, but we're just trying to get the hip mobility as well as the hamstring opening. Go wide if you can. Sit up nice and tall. You can always be sitting just with a wide knee position if this sitting up on a block doesn't work. 3, 2, and then bring the leg in, bring the foot down. Okay. Unravel, find a child's pose, take a couple rounds of breath to relax. We're gonna do one more little stretch before we try our pose. So I'm going to show you this pose without any blocks, and I'll show you how you could use blocks. We've done this before, it's Tarasana. So I have a wide angle pose. It's not heels to the groin like we did earlier. It's a little bit wider. So I'm going to lift my seat up and move my hips back a bit. Then if I can, I'll crawl my arms underneath my shins, and I'm going to kind of lift my upper back and let my head release. So that same kind of plank work we did. That's one option. Another option is you can sit up on a block and put your feet here. And then I can have my hands inside my thighs to allow myself to kind of feel that lift without having to be supported. So it's that same work. It's like the pose we just did, Bhuja Padasana, if you did that, very similar shape. So I have a rounded upper back, my belly is strong, and I'm letting my thighs externally rotate. Breathe in, breathe out. On or off blocks. Yeah, I'm just gonna check in with everybody. Yep, looks good, you guys. Looks good. Okay. So if you're in Tarasana, off blocks, you're just gonna straighten one leg at a time. Checking out if you would be best suited to have one leg straight at a time. So we'll be here and we can switch it out, or if you wanna do both legs straight. A lot of people have a lot of trouble with this pose with both legs wide and open, simply because what happens is the pelvis tucks under and it becomes a really, an issue for the hip flexors. So if that's you, investigate bending one knee. You can have that knee on a prop and sitting on a blanket and just doing one at a time, because it doesn't matter, we're still gonna get both, okay? So just kind of feeling out what works for you. But please make sure that your pelvis is tipped slightly forward or neutral. If it's tipped back, you need to lift your seat, whether that's through a block or a blanket. Another option is to bend the knees like I'm showing. You use a strap, and then you're just gonna bring your chest forward, similar to the squat we did. What's most essential is that you're not in a tucked under tailbone position, right? It just is not great for your low back, and it's not gonna give you the same kind of therapeutic effect. So better to have bent knees and lose some of the hamstring opening than be tucked under, okay? So you find your edge. Let me know if you need some help. And so we're just gonna be bringing the chest forward. So maybe that's hands forward for some of you, totally fine to be rounded. Maybe it's just, maybe some of you can bring your forearms to the mat. Kneecaps point up, toes point up. So try not to let the toes roll back or forward. Pay attention to your tailbone. So if you have one knee bent, you're just doing this with one knee, and you're going to take 5 more breaths, and then we'll do switching. So don't worry if you only have one. You'll do both. Yeah, it looks good. Make sure knees and toes point straight up, you guys. Yeah, there you go. Nice adjustment. Yeah, I know sometimes we got to bring it in a little bit to do that. Switch your legs if you haven't. Yep, good job. Yep. So sitting bones go back, arms go forward. Nice. Deep breaths into the upper back, into the hamstrings. Okay. Nice deep breath, couple more. Awesome, you guys. Okay, you got it. Okay, so let's shake it out, eventually come to a stand. So we're gonna just do a little bit of just mobility, just kind of get a little bit more circulation, and then we're just gonna go for it, okay? So we're gonna start in a toe wide, heel in position. So arms up, take a little squat for me towards Malasana. So my heels are angled in. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, go right back down as low as you feel like going. 3 more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. 1 more. Inhale, exhale, sink. So I'm just going to stay here for 5 breaths. Letting my thighs widen. Hands down, left leg back. You're in that lizard lunge. Just take a breath or 2 here. And then straighten your right leg. You're wide. Bend the right knee, come back to lizard lunge. Straighten your right leg and you're wide. 1 more time. Straighten it. Nice, bend the right knee, step in for that squat. Bring your hands to your heart, come all the way up. Turn your toes out and your heels in 5 times, come down and up. We just want to feel the groins open and the hips get a little bit more warm and mobile. This is with your own breath patterning. And then come down and hold. You're pretty wide. You can be more narrow, of course, if you want. Then hands down, right leg back. I come down to the lizard lunge, so I'll realign my foot forward. Then I'll come back. I'm just dancing forward and back. Come forward. Go ahead and step into that squat. Hands down. Hands to the heart. Step all the way up. Shake it out. Shake it out. Okay. So we're going to try this pose before we go into your test day for your poses that you're going to do. So this is a pose that I really can't do it all the way either. But again, we're not about short term. This is just that patience to put in the practice of what we did. So let's go back over the components. Remember all this core work where we're bringing ribs and hips together. So we're shortening the front line of the body using the strength of the hip flexors, the core muscles, broadening the upper back. So that's the action of the power, right? The hands have to push vigorously down to kind of lift, right? It's that sucking in. Then what the legs do is they're going to extend out like a wide leg, like that wide angle shape. But we're going to do this from that squat. So the way I do it is I use the blocks for my hands. And I'm going to keep my legs somewhat straight because I can't really lift them. But I have the blocks up pretty high, so I have a pretty good shelf. So we definitely have to have a squat deep enough that you have a bent elbow or a shelf. So you see I have a little bit of a trouble because my shelf's not too great. Ideally, your hands are on the floor. I'm going to have my blocks down so they're more stable. So I've got my shelf, and then you're going to straighten your legs. I can only do one at a time. That's the pose with 2 straight legs. but I can't do it. I can do it with bent knees, but not straight legs. So you're either trying the squat and trying to press into the hands, lift the upper back. Maybe this is all you do. Maybe you try to straighten one leg. Maybe not. Like you saw, my other leg won't even straighten. It's just not happening. So try something. Your drishti, find the drishti being you imagining yourself in this shape, holding it, or the drishti being a part of your body that you want to activate. Yeah, nice work, you guys. I wasn't expecting that we'd all be nailing this, but just getting some component of it. It's a very challenging shape. And you might only get it fleeting for moments. Okay, after a breath or two, straighten your legs, slowly come up, shake your legs out. Whew, that's a hard one. Let your hips rock side to side. And just take a moment just to stand and take that in, right? And this is one of those times that we have to practice that patience to know that a lot of these poses may never be achievable, right? Due to the way our body is built. But we don't really know, right? So it's just more about applying what we learn, listening to our bodies. Just take a moment to keep breathing. And then it's going to be time for you to try your pose. So Saturdays are test days, which means we're trying just to see what type of improvements that you can discern. So if Malasana was your squat, it's how easeful are you in it, how maybe how low your heels are getting, how easeful your thighs open. Maybe that's your test. Headstand, maybe it's how long you can hold it. Crow pose, maybe how long you can hold it. Those of you that chose a core pose, maybe it's that plank challenge, and I'll give you the minute, so don't start it yet. And if you're choosing crow, we did a lot of the work today in crow, very similar work, right? Because I still have to do that upper back, the tailbone tuck, the squeezing in. So a lot of the same work. Remember, crow can be done on that block. So if you're going to start your plank challenge, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to start. Otherwise, you're going to try your pose. Ready? And go. Those of you that chose balance, maybe you're seeing how long you balance for. One leg crow, very similar work, but now you have the back extension. Now breathing, you guys, paying attention to the experience. Yeah, nice, Kate. I know a minute feels like forever when you're being timed, doesn't it? Cut 10 seconds, those of you in the plank challenge. If you want to go an extra 15, I'll give you an extra 15 seconds, but know that the minute was all that you had to do for now. So your minute is up now. If you want to stay for 15, keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So if you're in the plank challenge, you can come on down. If you're doing your balance pose, feel free to stay. Your headstand, feel free to stay. Remember, headstanders, elbows in, shoulder width apart, feet together, pointed flex, active feet. Roll your wrist, shake them out. I'll give you like another maybe minute or two to go through any of your shape again if you want, or to unmute yourself and ask questions or tips. I'm trying to watch everybody, but if you have a question about anything, or feel free to.
What are other things I can do to strengthen my wrist for crow?
Yeah, I'll show you some. So really, I mean, the best way to prevent wrist pain is to do more core, because the more the core works, the less that the, like weaker parts of ourselves. But if you were to back up and you lift your kind of the heel of your hand up and down. That's a great one. You can keep your thumb up or your thumb down. Like these are great ways to strengthen. So you're just lifting the heel of the hand up and down. Yep. Awesome. That's one of my favorite ways. I mean, that's one obviously like that the hand, right, is a circle. So you can practice kind of that clawing and then releasing, kind of this that activate the fingers and the radiation of energy. That's a good one too. Anybody else have questions about your focus pose or want to make sure?
What exactly is the plank challenge?
So we had 3 people that chose to do that wanted to improve core strength, and so they're doing the plank challenge to see like if they do a minute hold, like does it get easier? Do they feel a little bit more strong in their core or less in their wrist? So yeah, so that's their test. How is the plank and chaturanga to up dog going, Kate?
I think it's going better.
It looks good.
You know, it's less stress on my shoulders, so I think I'm doing it better.
Good, good. Guido is still doing tree pose. I think he's doing a 20-minute hold. I see. I can't see Cam, but Cam's pose was Warrior 4, which we did on Wednesday, but how convenient that he took his camera off. So we can't see if he's actually doing it or not. He says it's going well. Melissa, how is one leg crow?
Susan. I'm sorry, I had to join on my second device, but now it's echoing because I couldn't get off mute.
Oh no! Well, how did TT Boston go? Since this was your pose,
I just wanted to say thank you to you and sorry to everyone else.
Yeah, everyone's secretly like, wow, that's a terrible pose.
I actually held it for like 1 second, which is an
I wish
improvement.
we could have. I bet you would have been a much better model than me. That's like never been my pose.
Please. Well, thank you for putting yourself out there because I think that's important for everyone to see too, that even yoga teachers are on the journey.
Oh, totally. Thank you, Susan. I'm glad you held it for a few seconds. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. So thank you.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
Melissa.
everyone.
No, I know. Oh, Melissa's trying side crow with one leg out. Oh, nice. We could do that for a pose too. Anybody else have any questions or observations on your focus pose? No? I'm just looking at everyone. Everyone's probably tired after all that.
No, I mean, it's definitely easier.
Yeah, good.
I'm doing the plank challenge for my pose. So
you're switching now.
No, I mean, just as far as timing.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, how long can I hold it for? So.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I like it. Good.
Yeah, so thank you.
That's a long time to hold that too. I mean, not that plank's any easier, but that's also a long time for the squats.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Good, you guys. Yay. So remember, the goal is not to just practice it in class, but if you can't make it to class, at least 3 times a week, practice your focus pose. So again, we have to do these things with repetition, right? If you just do it once a week, that's unfair for yourself to feel like you're going to make much progress. So just repetition of it. You don't necessarily have to be learning something every time. Just keep, you'll be amazed what you learn, honestly, on your own, just trying it and trying new ways to get up or kind of noticing things. So thank you for trying, you guys. Okay, let's head on to the back. We're going to do an inversion to kind of integrate all this. So if you want a headstand or handstand, you want to stay upright, please go ahead and do that. Otherwise, let's go on our backs. And let's put the legs up in the air for a moment, wiggle the ankles, the toes. So if plow pose works for you, you're going to press into your hands and lift your legs up. I'm totally fine with you stopping at the top of the shoulders. So you see I'm not completely vertical. So this takes a lot less stress on the neck. I'm pressing into my hands. I'm reaching through my toes, so a lot of that good hamstring opening. I can even put, if I want, a block here so that I just have a little bit of support for this. This is going to be a whole lot less neck tension, and I have something to hold myself up. So it's going to require less core. So I have this block just at the sacrum area. No compression of the neck. Some of you might can do plow with your toes on the floor. Just be very careful with the neck for this one. Most definitely, if you're doing the full pose, you will roll to kind of the outer edges of the shoulders a bit to kind of align the hands. I'm just careful with this one because I tend to get neck issues, so I do the gist of them. So just taking a deep breath, laying the legs up. If you have a wall and you want to do legs on the wall, that works too. We're going to be here like another minute. Allowing the breath to let you integrate the different work that we've done today to open the hips, to open up the whole body. And then take the last like 30 seconds to, if you need to wind out of the shape and have a counter pose, go ahead and do that. As well as if you want a final twist, we didn't do a lot of twists today, so if you want some final twisting or hip stretching, you guys have practiced enough now that you have your favorites, so go through and choose. You want to start like we did in the beginning with the bent knee twist, or in figure 4. And then when you're ready to wind down, again, letting yourself completely relax onto your back. And I'm going to bring you back to that same awareness of making space in your brain. And exhaling out the clutter of putting it all on the plate at the same time, of all the pressures and the externalization. So almost imagining again, like that organization of your mind. We've done it in the sense of saying like we're doing a defrag. We did it last week as the sense of organizing a desk or a shelf. And so taking out the unneeded things that are on your desk or on your mind and putting them, maybe they need to be recycled, maybe they just need to be organized or put away for later. So whatever works for you to kind of put that intention that you can kind of clear some space in your mind so that you're not trying to manage, to balance, to separate, to sort everything at the same time. So just take a moment to just put that intention there and then just let it go. And imagine that your mind was so intelligent that you could just set that intention and direction and that your mind would effortlessly continue to sort and organize so that what's left is a clear and spacious mind. So that what's necessary and meaningful comes into your periphery, your awareness. And things that aren't really that important or not that timely can be kind of put away. Let your awareness drop into the navel center, that center and seat of your vitality. And take some deep breaths into that vitality as if you're stoking a fire there. So that the heat, the energy of your vital center can permeate the entirety of your body. And the way we can feed that vital center, right? With not only is it good food and water and exercise and meditation and all the things that I know you guys know, but it's through our joy, right? It's through the enjoyment of what we do. And when we get overwhelmed and put too much, right? Even the things that we love aren't joyful. So returning to that clarity of intention, that following the joy, making sure there's plenty of joy within each thing we do, is a way to constantly feed your vital center, which gives you more energy, more focus, more concentration. So when you're ready and you have kind of that awareness of that breathing to your vital center, slowly come up to a seat. You're gonna take your arms out to the side with your thumb, touch the notch of your baby finger, which is the Mercury node, which is the planet Mercury, the node, which is our thoughts, our communication. So we're gonna do 40 rounds of 40 pumps of breath of fire. And imagine that that vitality is feeding your mind and your mind is connected to your vitality. So close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and go. You're pumping your belly. So it's short, forceful exhales, quick inhales. Keep going. Your awareness is at your navel center. Your thumb touching the Mercury node connects to your mind. You have about 10 or 15 more. Exhale all the way out. Inhale and hold. Think about lifting from the pelvic center all the way up to your heart. Feel all that energy lift towards your brain. And then let it go. Let your arms go, relax. Connect to an intention for your day. Connect to the mudra in which we focus that energy. We focus on what is important to us. So whatever it is that you will place upon your day, your intention, your focus, your concentration, may it be joyful. May you feel centered, confident. May you feel patient in the unfolding. Take a deep breath in. Send your intention out on your exhale. Let your hands fold into your heart, acknowledging the efforts and the work that it takes to be a professional as far as meeting and being able to surpass the resistance in our lives through the work of patience, through the work of believing in ourselves, but most of all just practicing. Just keep on going. Take a deep breath in and out. The light in me honors and celebrates the light within each one of you. Thank you so much for your practice. Namaste. May we all be patient and productive and all the other things at the same time. Thanks for practicing.
Thanks, Jill.
Thank you, Jill.
Oh, you're